to joining, and I'm so excited. So hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us for the Android track of the Solution Challenge Bootcamp. I'm really excited because Android is really exciting. I think that if you don't have an Android phone in 2024, you should check yourself. So we would do very shortly. We would have, so today, Glory Olaifa will be moderating today's session. Please, for maximum engagement, kindly turn off your microphones. I've actually turned off that feature for now. When it's time for Q&A, I'm going to enable it right back so that all of us can use it. So I'm going to hand over to Glory, who would introduce our guest for today, and we'll start with a really quick demo workshop, and then you can ask your questions. Please don't forget to use the Q&A feature on the activities. You'll see that 3 shape sign. You can see Q&A, and you'll be able to ask your questions there. So over to you, Glory.
So, sorry, can you confirm if you can hear me, Sadiq, please?
Loud.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gloria Olaifa, and I'm very, very glad to be here. And I believe everyone is actually like super excited to be here. This is the day 3 of our boot camp, which has been a very good run so far. Yeah, just a brief recap. On Monday we had the cloud session where we have HD who spoke about like cloud and how you can make use of it in your solution you're trying to build. Yesterday we talked about AI, and now today is basically about Android. And one thing about Android is you may actually like need to use both the artificial intelligence and the cloud features and everything inside your Android application. And today's session we will be having Beatrice Kinya, if I'm very correct with the name pronunciation. She's a GD in Android development, and she has a lot of experience for us to for us, a lot of things in store for us to gain from. I'm very sure everybody's excited to hear from her. I would love to have her on. I don't know if she's there. I don't know if she's there. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for the reaction. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
So I would the first thing I want us to do is a very good introduction of herself, because even me myself, I would love to like know more about her. And so let's listen to her, please. A brief introduction about herself, and we can start the session for today. You have the floor, please. Hello, can you hear me?
hello, Glory,
Yeah,
we can hear you.
yeah, sure.
So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, we would love to like know more about you, like brief introduction about yourself, and before we start the session.
Okay, cool. So, a little bit about myself. Just a minute. Yeah, so this is me. Yeah, okay. This is me. My name is Beatrice, however you read it, Kinya. I am from Kenya, so I'm in Nairobi right now. So I am an Android engineer and a Google developer expert for Android. So I've been doing Android for around, professionally for 6 years. Together with the years I was in campus, around 7 years now. And yeah, see, that's it. Android is fun. Yeah, you should not be intimidated. Everyone should learn Android. Yeah, we just solve problems and create bugs sometimes. Just having fun writing Android and writing Kotlin. Yes, I still know Java though. I know a bit of Java, I know a bit of Kotlin. Okay, a lot of Kotlin, a bit of Java and a lot of Kotlin. What else about me? Okay, yes, I love participating in developer communities. So giving talks, attending conferences, sometimes writing blogs, and being in a session like this with you, and that's what makes me a Google developer expert. It's a recognition by Google for doing just good stuff with Android, and it's fun. Yeah, I don't know. Unless you have a specific question, I guess I have answered most of the questions, or at least you have an idea of who I am today, right?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. One thing I picked from what she says, everybody must learn Android. And that's why we are here today. Even if you are a cloud engineer or something or else, you have to start Android development today. I'm telling you, she has a lot of things to share for us, and we can't. So she has a lot of things to share with us, and I'm very sure we are definitely going to enjoy this session. So everyone can bring out your jotting or your notepad, your pen, or whatever you are using to jot, so we can kickstart the session. Petra is like you have the floor now. Your presentation and everything. We just really need to start. We can't wait to hear from you.
Sorry, I missed that. Rather, I'm
I,
supposed.
I think I can just step in to help out here. So thanks a lot. Good to meet you again, Beatrice. For me personally, I'm really excited to learn a lot, about Android and looking forward to particularly the demo or workshop that you have sort of prepared for us. So before we delve right into question, maybe we could start from you showing us a quick demo. And then as you're doing that, folks who have questions, please put it in under the Q&A bar, and we can take the questions after your presentation. If you can hear me, please clap. Let me see. If you can hear me, just use the clap emoji. I'm trying to. Okay, yeah, folks can hear me. So I think maybe Beatrice is trying to set up her screen. So I'll just let her tune in shortly.
Let me let me just think through this. So before I do a demo or anything, I think okay. I'll make it. I may not present a screen. I'll make it a little bit more conversational. So I think first thing is I think I'll just like I don't know if we can create a poll in chat. Okay, I think we can. Let me just do this. Okay, how many hours I want to start a poll. Just a minute. No Kotlin. Kotlin on Java. Kotlin.
I'm also able to unmute everyone, if so that it can be more engaging. If that's fine by you.
No, it's okay. I think we can just do okay. Okay, let's first do the poll and then we can probably unmute them. I've started now.
All right,
Poll.
awesome.
I don't know if you can see a poll for Kotlin or Java. So I just want to just have a feel of who we are, and then yeah, we can get started. Kotlin has one vote. 2 votes. Java 1 vote. Let's just keep voting. Only the people are voting for and trade. I can only see 9 votes, and we are around 51. So yeah. So let's keep voting. Let's keep voting. Okay, I've lost that poll. Joel has their hand raised. I think you can unmute them so that whoever has a question can ask. Yeah.
So I've done that.
Cool. Yeah. And please let's just cooperate so that just so I have that in words. Okay. I'll give us another 2 minutes so that we just so that not 2 minutes, at 8:16 now we end the poll. I have 14 votes though, so I have both copy and Java. Where are we voting? There's a when you click on the polls tab. Let me share my screen so you can see. Let me share my screen. It's not the one thing. Oh no. Okay. Let me first of all stop this. Let me share my screen again so that you can. Yeah. I don't know if you can see my screen. Yes, you can. So here, when you click on this button, you'll see this but you can pick it up in or in Java. Yeah. So 15, 1 more minute. Then now we resume our conversation. I think we have number of seconds left. I don't know. Let me see if I can put in another poll. I don't know. So I will end this poll now, and I will hope the votes are will represent us. We kind of have a balance. Wait, I hope no. Okay, so can you quite understand that?
The only Nigerians who understand that reference.
This opposite is turned. I think I just want to do one more poll then, and then we end this. We continue with the Q&A, or we continue on discussion. So I just want to know. So are we doing 100 projects or not? So there's another poll. This one now 3 minutes. We resume at 2:20. So if you're doing an 100 project or if you're not doing an 100 project, and then yeah. So we have no. And then if you enter no, you're not doing an 100 project, you enter no. If you could put in chat like what kind of project you're doing and the language you're using, the framework you're using, it will be very useful. I would appreciate. Yeah, so we have 8. We have 2 minutes left. We have 10 votes. You can go in progress. I'm gonna calculator and a unit converter using Flutter dot. So we have Flutter guys here. This is awesome. 1.5 minutes left. Yeah, and I have only 12 votes. I just need a vote. We are 50 students. Markup for Flutter, Firebase, and that. We have a lot of Flutter here. This is exciting. Okay, I think I'll end the poll now so that we get to, yeah. So, under project, yes, 9, no, 7. 50 seconds, okay, 30 seconds left. Then I end first. Yeah, coding using Android Studio, Tracker, JS, Firebase, PWA. That's awesome. I use Java, but I like Kotlin. Okay. The one who's using Java, okay. Cabral or something. Please, you may get your name wrong. Cabral Lasinge or something. He will tell us more about it, about Java and Kotlin in a while shortly. I think I can now end the poll so that you don't stay here for so long. So, yeah. So, from what we have here, I need to end the first one. Yeah. So, looks like we can balanced Kotlin Java, Kotlin 12, Java 10. Now, the one who told us they use Java but like Kotlin, could you please unmute and tell us more about that? And please teach me how to read your name. I'd really appreciate. Yes. Okay, they are not unmuted. 1 more minute. They unmute and talk to us. Anyway, I don't know. So, I don't think I have slides today, but just a minute. I mean, look at my slides. But I'll do, okay. First to vote. I know you are, okay, I don't know. That will get live. So, I will ask you a question. For those who are using Kotlin, please respond. Do not all keep quiet, because if you can someone confirm they can unmute? Someone just.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Good. But my friend refused to unmute and tell us the comparison between Java and Kotlin, what they like in Java and Kotlin. But now, I'll ask a question. For those of us who are using Java, okay, what is your best part of using Java and what is your challenge when you're using Java? Yes. Who wants to talk first? Who wants to go first?
Sorry, can you ask the question again? I can't hear you clearly.
Okay. The one that I asked last? Yes. The question was, whatever language you're using, I think any person can, if you're using Java, if you're using Kotlin, what I want to ask, the question is, what is your favorite feature of the language you are using, and what is your challenge with the language you're using? Yeah. Anyone? I hope you all got my question right.
Yeah, sure. Let me go first. Just my own personal opinion.
Yes.
Um, Basically for me, I believe Kotlin is syntax friendly, which
Okay.
is which makes it more easier for me to interact with it like freely for me personally. So
Yeah.
the first question I ask myself is, okay, fine. If I'm to implement this with Kotlin, what are the like potential challenges will I have along the line when trying to like work with the
Okay.
project? And the major question is, I also ask myself, if I'm considering Java, is it necessary for me to use
Mm.
Java? Can I just like use Kotlin? Because for me personally, Kotlin is just like just its syntax. The syntax is very friendly and it makes it easier for me to like to do whatever I want. So basically, that's it.
So your favorite feature is okay. You like Kotlin because of the syntax, from what I'm getting. And your question is, or rather, you ask yourself what challenges you are going to get if you're using Kotlin. One thing I will tell all of us, okay, I hope I did not form a question. Yeah. But one thing I'll tell you is if when you're using Kotlin, yes, Kotlin, the syntax is good. But other than that, let me show you Kotlin language features. Let me share my screen with you. Uh, how many of us have ever encountered a null exception when working on a project, on a Java project? You build an app and then the app crashes and you do not know why it is crashing because Java does not have null type. Kotlin is beautiful because Kotlin, number one, it gives you that null safety. You can have, so you don't have to deal with those null exceptions because it is very smart. It handles the nullability. And then also Kotlin is interoperable with Java. You can use Kotlin together with Java. I think that's my other favorite part is data classes. I you If you've written Java code, you will create a class. Let me show you what a data class looks like. Uh, let's just look for a Kotlin data class. Kotlin data class. Data class. Remember writing getters and setters in Java? Like you want to create a class student. I'm assuming we all have written, okay, most of us have written Java code, or we can just, yes. And we've seen getters and setters. Imagine now having to write a class like this, a class user with name and age and having to write getters and setters for this. In Kotlin, you don't have to do that because you can use a data class, which automatically provides that under the hood. So those are some of my favorite features in Kotlin. Yeah. So another person, tell me what are the favorite, okay, yeah, your favorite features in the language you're using, Java, Kotlin. For the people writing Flutter that also you can talk about that. What are the favorite features in the in whatever framework or language you're using? Yeah, so that we make this one a bit conversational. Because I don't think I have slides for this, unfortunately. So anyone, happy to end? Yeah, Eugene?
I'd say hot reload and the fact that you can use Flutter for cross-platform development.
Ah, hot Leland. And is there a hot restart in Flutter?
Hot reload.
Hot Leland. Yes, I need a bit of Flutter sometimes. There's someone else who was there, their hand raised up, and okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher your name. Go ahead. This
I
one.
think I think with Flutter, there's the barrier to entry with Flutter is way easier than with Kotlin. That's what I've noticed in my experience. Because even just like getting basic information with Kotlin, you go on the Google website, especially now with the entire Jetpack Compose, a new feature that kind of like makes the old way of designing kind of not. It's still used, but it's kind of outdated. Then with Flutter, just like, you know, with a single tutorial, you can pretty much get up and running quickly, and yeah, on your way to making a project. Because you don't even need, I think for me personally, I just used a 1-hour tutorial, got the basics of Flutter, I was using the docs, I was ready to able to start building things. Whilst with Google's pathway, it's very, I'm still like doing the code labs, trying to understand what's really going on and making it work. So with me, I'll say Flutter, and that was just as like an easier barrier of entry.
Yeah, I would agree and disagree with you. Yes, Flutter might look straightforward. It is. Yeah, Jetpack Compose borrows a lot from Flutter. Definitely learning Android requires a bit of patience. And sometimes, because of so many resources and people giving different opinions, it can be challenging. But it is not all that hard. I think the biggest challenge is usually finding resources to get started with. Yeah. But the learning curve is definitely yeah, basically. And as we share our favorite features of whatever language and framework we're having, in case you have any question, please feel free to ask. Yeah, because again, I told you they're not late for this. Yeah,
Sorry,
you just
let me ask a question, please. This is like a general question like people do ask more
yeah,
frequently. Now, the
yes,
question is, when you are about to start a project, just like a scenario now, I wanted to participate in the solution challenge. The question
yes.
is, how which approach should I take? Should I go for the native Android, which
Mhm.
is Kotlin or Java, or I should pick a cross-platform framework? What is going to determine which of them should I pick?
Okay, perfect. That's a good question. I wouldn't. I am an Android developer, so I might quickly tell you to pick Android, but I will not tell you to do that. If you're building an app, a mobile app, okay, I would say pick whatever is easy for you, especially for the hackathon. If you know Android, go for it. If you have to learn Android and you know Flutter, go for like, because this is a competition, and again, the competition has a timeline. Pick pick the easiest pick for you. I guess from what we've had, learning Flutter might be faster. Yeah. And again, I think for prototyping, if you again, yes, for doing your MVP, minimum viable product, I find Flutter, of course, wins because again, Flutter you can learn quickly, implement quickly, and you're going to go. With Android, you have to learn so many things. Yes, I'm not saying you people should not learn Android. Yes, learn Android, but when sometimes spin time is limited, I would go for Flutter. Yeah. But again, the other thing is looking at time. Okay, so what I've seen is time. Depends on also what you know best. Pick your best framework. Yeah, because sometimes learning new things with time constraints is not very friendly. Yeah, and go with it. But none of them is wrong. Because in the end of the day, your goal is to build an app. Yeah, go ahead. And please tell me your name. How you read your name? The one who was just there. Just tell me, teach me how to read your name.
It's Tutsirai.
Tutsi Rai.
Yeah, that's the name.
Okay.
I have a question with does Google still offer their Google Android certification? Because when I recently checked about it, it was kind of closed. I think they were refactoring it or something to fidget compose a new thing. But in that case, how's the best way to approach getting that certification? Like, what have you ever gotten the certification? How would you approach saying I want to be an Android developer, following the pathways which Google offers to eventually take the exam? What is the best approach to go with from your experience if you have taken it?
Okay, well, I attempted it, but I never. Every year I have tried. I am a very, very bad example. Please do not follow my example. I quite have never finished. Because again, when I was doing it, I was still in campus, and juggling that with campus was a bit of hectic. But yeah, depending on what, I would recommend following the materials they are sharing with you, because the exam will mostly be based on the materials they're sharing with you. But again, you want to become an untrained developer. So again, in your learning journey, you of course will consult other resources to just understand the concepts better, to understand how to do things better. So you're not just limited to the materials they offer. You just need to get a broader knowledge. But okay, you asked if they closed it. I am not sure about that. I think Sadiq would be the best person to answer that question. If the Google scholarship, I think it was a scholarship and certification, is still there and what's happening this year. I don't know about that. Yeah. Sadiq, what do you think about the Google certification? What happened with that?
Oh, so I do not have an update on that, unfortunately. But I guess that what I do tell everybody who asks me something I don't know is that they should try and ask bad. But maybe if you can leave a chat, I can quickly try and confirm what sort of, whether there's a link. So do you mean the Android certification to Tsirai? I think you were the one that asked that question.
Yeah, you mean the Android certification?
Okay. So I think I would look for the link and then I will share in the chat. Also, if anyone has the link, anyone from G Captains, please also share in the chat so Tsirai can take a look at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you very much for that, Sadiq. Yeah, one more question. Like I've seen someone ask about, okay, fine. They said, what is the big deal in Jetpack Compose? And for existing applications that are written in XML, how do they go about it? And is it really compulsory for them to migrate? Is it really compulsory for them to migrate, or is XML, like, is it going to be depreciated in the long run?
Okay. Cool. Good question. Yeah. If you've been Android long enough, you've seen Google deprecate a number of important libraries, but that's not what we're talking about today. The question is, what is Jetpack Compose? Jetpack Compose is the new UI toolkit. Of course, it's supposed to do what XML does. Yeah. So create your UIs. Now you can create your UI using Kotlin. And of course, influences the architecture of your app in the positive ways. Because now you're writing all your code in Kotlin, easy to debug. Okay, not all the time. Depends on how you write your code. Yeah. So, okay, so that was the first question. What is Jetpack Compose? Jetpack Compose is the new UI toolkit for creating Android UIs, native UIs. Yeah. So it kind of replaces XML. So then the other thing was, what about the projects that are in XML? Is it compulsory to migrate them to Compose, and what is the plan? Or is the migration? It is an advice to migrate them to Compose, but of course, you don't have to migrate everything. Yeah. These Google as resources. I think I could find, when you check the documentation, you can see migration, okay, from XML to Compose. Let me just see. They have shared a number of resources. The people have written articles about it, given talks about the migration and how their experiences were. So I'll share this. I'll share one of the things that's present in the documentation. Yeah, I think when you can migrate your advantage of Compose, but ideally, yeah, I think you don't have to ask I don't think it's a must you migrate, or you don't have to just migrate everything at once. You can just do it incrementally. Yeah, I don't know. All that answers the question. I don't know if I've answered all of it.
Yeah, sure. So if anybody has any question to ask, please you can use the link I'm going to be sharing, or you use the chat box, which is very, very important for everyone to ask their questions and have more clarity about anything you are curious about. So
Please, the one question. Yeah, yes, I did.
Yeah, I wanted to point Glory to that question in case he has not seen visibility on it. Someone is asking, how do you get into Android development? Which I think would also mean that how can they get started with Android development?
Yeah, okay, cool. Good question. I think the first thing is, for me, it's yes, you want to get into Android development. Then the next step is getting the resources, the learning materials, where, because again, that's very important. Where do you learn? So I can share, let me see, I think just a minute, let me share a link. Okay, no, let me share. Yeah. So is a collection of questions here, questions with answers, but then I'll ask, okay, answers partly answers the question that has been asked. So yeah, so the first thing is, now you want to get into Android development. The first thing is resources. When you go to the Android documentation, yeah, it is linked in the questions that I've shared, the link that I shared last. You can see links to resources that you can use to learn Android to get started. You can also check Google Code Labs or even online courses. Yeah, because I think that's the first thing. Materials that will teach you Android. And then also, if you can also go to a boot camp if you want to, or teach yourself. Or there are also books that are teaching Android nowadays. Yeah, I think the team that I write for, Kundeko, you can check them. Sometimes they have Android bootcamps. You can also do that. Just a minute. Let me show what. Just Kundeko. Yes, this one. You can check them out. I'm just pointing out you out to places you can learn Android. Who are the okay, I don't know. Basically that. The other thing that I normally emphasize on is you don't have to do this alone. Yeah. Because we are here, we are a community. This is a community. You can find a lot of help in the community. When you're learning, asking for resources, sharing resources with each other, exchanging knowledge, getting help in case you get stuck. Yeah. So being in a community gives you a platform to just learn, and sometimes even learn faster because you can get to ask questions. Yeah. So you don't have to get stuck. That is one of the many things that has helped me. It's just not being in the community just for the sake of being in the community. You're there, you participate. You ask questions, you answer questions. Yeah. Contributing to open source projects, if you can find any that you can contribute onto, also helps a lot. Yeah. What else? Yeah. Because now you get started and upskill and more. Yeah. Basically, that's it. Any other question? Go ahead. Tutsi, right?
I always hear that a lot about the Wenza contribution to open source. What's the best way to approach it though? Because it's really, first of all, finding like open source projects, especially as a beginner, most of them are like full established things. So you can't be trying to get into the Android open source project whilst you're also a beginner. So it's like, where do we find these beginner targeted open source project that we can join and actually contribute?
Yeah. Oh, That's a good question. Something I have seen often. Number one, you can start an open source project yourself. Is it? Just start building something simple. Whether app, how to do just something simple, and then now get your friends to contribute. That way, you're learning how to. Okay, it's not teaching you how to contribute to projects. You're learning how to work with others. The other thing I was told is, I hope, okay, I suspect that most of us, if not all of us, have GitHub profiles. Then find the engineers that you look up to. You look up to maybe Eugene, you look up to Glory, and then just follow them. You can see when they create projects, and then go through their projects, raise an issue or contribute. You're working on a repository or someone and you can ask for help. But I think that way you're contributing to their work. You learn by contributing to their work. You learn how to work with people. You can also create an open source project, and that builds the muscle how to contribute to more complex projects. Besides that, you have seen RedCon conferences. So what happens? Okay, one of the open source projects I've contributed to, though not much, is RedCon Kenya app. Every time when the project gets closed, they start working on the app. I can share with you their GitHub, the app they were working on last year. Let me show you something. I'll share this link. Let me share this link first, then I show you what I'm saying. I have so many tabs open here, and oh god, I might let me first close this, and then here. So is that meeting? So when you are here, let me share my screen. Share screen. That screen should be coming up. So this is the project they were working on last year, and they will put these on Twitter and ask people to contribute. So you can watch out for RedCon K on Twitter. And then when you come here, they have the contribution guidelines. So if you have to contribute to a repository, to this project, they will teach you how to contribute to their work. And this can give you a good place to start, basically. Yeah. And I think the other thing is people keep sharing projects on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and all that. When someone shares a project on Twitter, you can go through that, or even LinkedIn, go through that. That's another thing that can help you to grow your skills. Review their project, see what they've done, and see how you can make an improvement. You can make a pull request and talk to the person. And that is also contributing to open source, basically. Yes. Any other question, comment, feedback? Or should I ask a question? Maybe another poll. Just how many of us are doing Flutter? Just raise your hand. Eugene. Eugene, is it a question or is it a response to my question?
It was a response to your question about how many of us are working on Flutter at the moment.
Perfect. What's your best part in Flutter? Did you tell us what's your best part in Flutter? No, you're not.
I did. For me, it was just the hot reload feature. But
Perfect. Let me look for something. Let me just call out her name, because now people are not talking. Caleb widgets. Yeah, everything is a widget. I remember. I did Flutter for 1 year. Widgets. What's your favorite widget? Mm, let me look for a name. Column. Here's Glory. You have something to say?
Yeah, sure. I wanted to ask about in Android there is Android basically care more about life cycles because it's one of the fundamental any Android developer or someone looking to go into Android development needs to understand. So what can you say about life cycles and probably just a brief intro about it? Because basically most people in Flutter here, because I write Flutter too, is we skip those basics. Obviously we do. But in Android development you can't because you have to
Even
understand
with
them.
even with Flutter, you should not. Yes, but I think the first thing you learn when you start learning Android is activity lifecycle. Let me show my screen. The first thing that you should learn is share the screen. I think I should just keep on sharing my screen. The first thing that every time you start learning Android, the first thing you learn is this. Because Android is just as one device. You know, it does not have its RAM is not big enough. You're not having a 32 GB or phone, and so you can see it's a limited resource that you want to do so many other things. And you see your app, every app is fighting for those resources. So this like one of the things it helps with is for the apps that are not using a resource to release it so that other apps can use the resource. Yeah. A quick run through of the life cycle. I don't know if you can see this image clearly. Let me
Yeah, we
do
can
it.
see it.
Let me just make it a little bit bigger. So, I mean, when you start your app, when you start your app, I think every app that you create in Android as an activity. So when you start the app, the activity enters on just a minute. These are callbacks. Okay. So every time you start the app, the activity will enter the created state, and then it will call this method on create. Now here in on create, the app is initializing, it's getting all the resources it needs to run. Yeah, so then when from the created state it will go to the started state. So now that is when now the screen becomes visible to the user, and then after a number of seconds it enters the resumed state and causes method. In the resumed state now, the user can interact with the app. They can tap a button, they can enter text, and do whatever they want to do with your app. At that time, the app is running, So sometimes for instance, you receive a call or something happens, and you kind of, when you receive the call, the screen of your app is not what you can see on the surface, so it kind of goes behind. So it enters the post state. Now that it's not visible when you're picking that call and all that. And then from on pause, it might go to on stop when the app completely now goes to the background, and then on destroy when you completely exit the app. You're not using the app anymore. Or for instance, here when you got the call, you just finished your call and you want to go back to using your app, the app returns to the resumed state and calls on resume. Or you're not going, you don't use the app again, you can go to on stop, then on destroy, and it then releases the resources it was adding. Yeah. So that now other apps can use their resources. But things like memory, storage, permissions, and things like that. Okay, that was very brief, but I hope it gives you an idea of the life cycle. Does it?
Yeah, sure. Does anybody have any question based on what she shared just now? Because basically, even as an Flutter engineer or Flutter developer, these are just the basics that we all need to like understand. So does anybody have any question related to the activity, probably in Android or anything? You can definitely share, probably using the QA or the chat box or any of it too. Yeah, that would be much appreciated. So pending that, also I have another question here. And the question is basically about
Yes.
intent. What can you say about intent in Android development?
Intent. That's interesting. Okay. That's okay. It's been a while since I know about intent. Cause yes, I think remember your app is made up of different screens, right? So what used to be there in Android a while ago was each screen was an activity. And how to move from one activity to another, you would use intent. Or sometimes you want to start another app. For instance, you want to start a camera app. So that is the camera app is an activity by itself. You can use intent. Most of the time used for navigation in the app. Yeah. But I don't know. Have you heard about navigation components in Android? Anyone? Anyone know about navigation components in Android? Okay, I don't know. Yeah, all silent. I'm assuming no one or someone does. Oh, yes. So now with the navigation components, I think Android nowadays uses less of intents because instead of having multiple activities in the same app, you just have one activity and many fragments, basically. Yeah. So, but if you're using your activities, especially if you're writing Android with Java, you potentially are still using intents, or you've moved to this. Let me show you. Navigation components. Android. You can find all these navigation. Yeah. So you see, you don't have to. Yeah, navigation library. Now you start creating a navigation graph. Use a navigation controller, and you don't have to. Allow activity in destinations. Okay, this is just a lot. You can just go through this at your own. We used to do this: start activity, destination activity. I don't know if we still. I don't know if we have an example with navigation components instead of using an intent to do something like this. Controller to navigate, basically. Yes. This is too much information, I know, but I can always share these things and then you can look at them at another time, at your own time. Yeah, basically.
Thank you so much for sharing that actually. So just summary of what you mentioned recently. Intent is used for starting another activity, or maybe we are trying to start another application from our own application, probably maybe the Play Store or the settings or anything related, any other external application, we use the intent. But I think I get that, and I mean that is like super is helpful for anybody listening to. Okay, sure, you can go on. You raise your hand now. To Sirai or something. Sorry for that.
It's fine. This is a question to Beatrice. Like, can you just give us some of the projects you've worked on, the challenges you faced, and how you overcame some of these things?
Oh, I think we lost let me she on this call. Yeah, sure, she's on this call. So can you repeat your question again?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was talking on mute. So I have got questions from Tutsirai, and then I think I dropped off the meeting accidentally. Then I found you talking about intents. Anything that I missed that I need to clarify about intents?
No, sure. You've answered the question. You've answered the question, and it is more clearer now.
Perfect. So the question from today was, could you please repeat your question again? I think just.
My question was, what are some of the projects you've worked on, and how did you overcome like challenges and improve like as a Android developer with each coming project? Because I feel like from the first one it's not easy, but as time goes by, like the basics become like second nature. How did you overcome those challenges you were facing during projects?
Yeah, perfect. That's a good question. And then there's that question. Then there's what is best to use, Adrian or Flutter? I'll answer the one for challenges first. I think for me, I'll still say this, especially when I started learning Android, there were just too many things to learn. You're like, I have this project, I'm supposed to learn all these things, and you're like, it was overwhelming. And then it's just what helped me is when finding a strategy to learn things, because we learn differently. There's some we learn by watching videos, there's some we learn by reading blogs, and of course everyone should practice however how you learn, because practicing is the best way out. So and then now you notice, so figuring out the best way to learn. I don't enjoy watching videos as much, but sometimes I watch videos. The reason why I then about to is actually setting time aside to practice, because that is the only way you can test what you know, and also you master the concepts. Yeah, because just watching a video or reading blogs and all that won't help as much per se, but just finding time, setting time aside to work on now learn and practice. So that's the other thing. The other thing is, of course, asking, because no one knows everything. So sometimes you get stuck. Commentary is a good place to be. And the most difficult lesson is consistency. And then consistency does not mean speed. Yes. Because if you rush over things, you really won't learn a lot. You just rush over things and then what? So there is that consistency, but not rushing with it and just being patient with yourself. Because especially with Android, again, we say these are learning curve. And of course, there will be challenges. You will encounter new things you do. So and there will be new things every new day. Yeah, and you don't have to learn everything at once. Just one thing at a time. That will be useful. Yes. So the other question is, what is the best to use, Android or Flutter? Again, depends on what you're building and what you like best, to be honest. If you're building an MVP, a minimum viable product, that shouldn't go cross-platform. why not try Flutter? You want to build fast, try Flutter. But if you're building something that will use native things, by native I mean you want to have to assess like the hardware stuff, camera, maybe things like fingerprint, that the low level stuff. Working with Flutter might be challenging, and because it gets to a place where you actually have to learn the native language, either to learn Kotlin and Android if you're doing this for Android, or learn Swift for iOS to work with those low level things. So if your app really targets those low level details, you won't consider a native app. But basically they all do what they do it to the best. So yeah. But again, Flutter is fast. But if you're considering those low level things, consider doing a native like Android or Swift for iOS, basically. What is the difference between Flutter and that? That is the language for Flutter, the same way we use Kotlin for Android. Yeah, basically. Pretty. That's a easy one. Any other question? It's already 9. I don't know at what time we should end this. Yeah, and then, but if you have a question, feel free to ask.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So another question I have here is, how do you manage states in Android? And also one more thing is, how do you handle responsiveness too? Like those are one of the most basic part of maybe Android development also. So handling states and handling responsiveness. So how do you go about it?
State is a whole it's a talk for itself, but I'll try my best to address that. Okay. The other question was responsiveness. What do you mean by responsiveness?
Having my application work on different sizes of devices, maybe a very small device or tablets or large screens and all.
Perfect. So start with speed. I think, but I don't know the best way to answer this, but the architecture you choose for your app influences this a lot. Yes. And then of course we have libraries like Kotlin Flow that will help us to observe changing state. I don't know how to answer this. Okay, I think that's it. Because and then Tutsira, do you have something to say about the same?
Yeah, with the winter issue about screens and responsiveness, for example, in terms of Flutter, instead of using like fixed, their properties, each widget is like width and height, instead of like using a fixed number of pixels, there's this thing called media query where what Flutter does is then calculates the screen of the device you're using, then it adjusts it. So if you say maybe media query, I'm forgetting .context.width, so that's taking the width of the device. So it sets the widget to the width of the screen. That means on any screen, as long as it's the media query which is being used, it always fit correctly on every screen. That's how you'd approach that responsiveness design in terms of Flutter.
Yeah, and in Android, we have several Jetpack libraries that you can use for that. Windows size classes, Windows size management. I think, yeah. So there are plenty of libraries that you can use for this. I could share all of them, and also Code Labs. Good a lot. I think the best thing is I'll look for a talk that explains this completely, both the responsiveness and state and share. Yeah, because that's a whole conversation in itself. Okay, this is another question. Flutter offers cross-development for multiple platforms, similar to React Native, Capacitor, Taoist. In what scenarios would you advise one to choose Flutter over the listing? Oh my goodness. My Flutter people, why would you choose Flutter over React Native, Capacitor, Taoist, and all that? Yeah, go ahead.
So okay, yeah, sure, we can hear from you. Let's
Okay, I think choosing Flutter over the other ones is just like even the dates, it's what you like, to be honest. There's really no base technology. That's the same thing with what's the best programming language question. Like there's really, it all depends on the user at the end of the day, what you like using. For example, for me, I'm not a fan of JavaScript. I never liked React. When I work with JavaScript, I use Vue.js more than React. So there's all that entire dilemma of it. Like everyone is different. Because I remember at the time I was so in love with C#. I wanted to use Xamarin Forms to make my mobile apps. That was a dead project. So it's like there's really no better one. Each of these solutions has got a drawback. The same thing with Android native has got a drawback of that you're only working on Android. The same thing with Swift. Flutter gives you cross-platform, but it makes it harder for you to access native libraries that help you enhance the program of your application. So it's like everything's got a drawback. Try out all of them, see which one do you enjoy more. When you face a solution, they always like workarounds to it. That's when you start from there.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. One more thing I would love to add is now the question is when did you want to launch whatever you are building? If you are thinking of building fast, Flutter gives you room for that. And for the sake of that, we have a lot of widgets that you can make use of to build your beautiful interfaces, and they are very, very, very much dynamic. It's not about you are just following the custom designs that are there. They are very, very more flexible. So for me personally, I will consider Flutter first, then look at okay, some other pros and cons that I need to consider. But the most important thing is most startups here, even everywhere, most startups wants to launch fast, which they will definitely go for Flutter. And also there are some other things that you need to experience yourself. React Native make things much. It looks native, but then there are some other things that you will see while developing that will know, okay, fine, I don't need to use React. I will just go for Flutter itself. So if for the sake of solution challenge, let me just put it in that context. Flutter is a very good tool for you to use. Android development, native Android, Java or Kotlin is a very good way for you to go because of we have UI tools that we can use like Jetpack Compose. Very, very simple and easy to use. Honestly, trust me. So I hope that answered the question.
I think that does. And I also get to learn a few other things that I didn't know about both. Yeah. So, sure.
So does anyone have any other question to ask?
Yeah, I got
For
like I think my last question for the day for Beatrice, like how we're always for everyone who's in the chat anyway, who can answer this question, just helps me because I'm at that level where algorithms and data structures are becoming more and more relevant in taking me to the next level as a program. How's the best way to approach to learn them and actually implement them? Because I've learned the theory of algorithms and data structures, but how is the best way you implement them when you're now doing your projects?
Well, from my experience, I think data structures knowledge is just similar to every other programming knowledge we have. You use it when needed. Yeah. Because for instance, think about states when you start building your app or navigation and things like that. But it is good knowledge to have, of course, because when you need to use it, you'll definitely use it. The other place to practice in data structures is you've seen things like Rank, LeetCode, and all that. It gives you a platform to practice your data structures, technically. And then when time comes when you should use that knowledge, then you have the knowledge. Yeah. So you can check Rank or LeetCode. They are very good platforms to practice data structures. Yeah. Then when required, you definitely use the knowledge.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And in addition to that, also, if I may add to it, and one more, if you are trying to build your applications and all, for example, let's say you want to generate a random string or a random integer, you can't just use probably 0 to 9 to generate a random integer, because at a point, the number you are generating might actually tally with something you've had before. So with the sake of your learning the data structures, you might use the current time or maybe milliseconds to generate the random string, which can never tally. So the experience you're having, another example is maybe you want to like get a list of something. How fast can you access this particular link? Do you need to use the for loop? Which loop do you need to use? And how do you need to generate them? If you are thinking more of the how am I going to say, the speed of your application and how fast you want things to run, you will implement the data structures you've learned actually, because it is actually like very, very important. So as she said, you can use Akarank or Lead Code also to practice them. I hope that helps.
Thank you. Makes sense. Oh yeah, awesome. So after you out, yeah, I think, do we still have one last question or two last questions before we close up? Before I hand it over to the
Does
organizers.
anyone have any question? We only have one person asking questions this morning. Why is everybody quiet?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's a question in QA, but I can't open my QA. Can someone read for me the question in QA?
Oh, let me say that, please. Really? Okay. We have more questions here. Someone said, how long can it take for an absolute beginner to build an MVP or even a complete project in Flutter from scratch? Oh, this is a Flutter question.
I'll still say education depends, because we learn at different paces. Some learn very fast, some not very fast. Yeah, it also depends on what is your MVP. I would highly recommend for your first project, just do something simple. An app that user can enter text and see the text they have entered, and then build incrementally. But I think the best answer is it depends. Yeah, on what you're building and also different persons. Personally, I know, yeah, one thing I've learned about myself is I don't learn things very fast. So I can't push myself to finish an app that someone finished in a week, similarly in a week. It might take me 2 weeks, and that's okay, especially when I'm learning. Yeah, because again, as I get used to the concept, I can now build faster. Yeah. Any other question in QA? Because now I can't open my QA.
Yeah,
Or even
thank you very much for that. Yeah, sure. So the last question we are going to take now, the person said, what's the difference between Flutter and that? That's going to be our last question. He said, what's the difference between Flutter and that?
Yeah, the difference between Flutter and that, again, it's the same way we use Kotlin to develop Android. Android is a framework. Kotlin is a language. It's the same thing. Flutter is a framework, like just a set of libraries. That is the language for Flutter. For you to build apps using Flutter, you have to learn that, basically. Yeah, I hope that answers the question.
100%.
How does Flutter achieve? I think that's the last question. How does Flutter achieve cross-platform? I honestly don't know. I think the people who build the library could be best people to explain, or anyone has an answer to that.
So the questions, okay, we are going to, this is the last question we are going to be taking.
Yeah.
So let me try to read it. How does Flutter achieve cross-platform development?
I can try answer it in basic knowledge, like, which is not complicated.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of layers. The same way you have to think about Flutter is the same way you think about React and all these other frameworks which we use, is that even the day is going to compile to the native code. So when you write React or JSX, when you compile it, it's going to compile to vanilla JavaScript that's going to run on the web. So the same thing with Flutter. When you're now compiling your build for your application at the end of the day, it's going to compile. If it's Kotlin, it's going for Android, it's going to compile to Kotlin. For iOS, it's going to compile to Swift, and that's the code which is going to run. So Flutter is just basically an abstraction layer which is just there. That's how I remember when I was learning about it.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. That answers it. So basically, when you are running your code in any platform, probably your Android, it compiles to Kotlin or Java. Whenever you are running your application in iOS, it compiles to Swift, which is the native language for iOS. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for the questions and your involvement. We would love to appreciate our speaker too. Thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate, and thanks for honoring our call. Everyone here really appreciate your presence and how you've really taken the questions we have. Yeah, we can do more of that. Thank you very much. You can react. If you can't unmute, you can react through the emojis we have. Thank you very much. And if you have any other question, you can contact your lead, drop the question. He or she will find a way